So this is an ocean science story and how we make bridges between ocean science and the public. My name is Suyin, and I have been blessed to be part of this team of Surfside Science. Me representing the A, where art, design, and communications is also part of ocean science. Here you see our logo dissected. We measured 4 areas: air quality, water quality, we had land cover and ocean cover. So we were measuring stuff like particulate matter, dissolved oxygen, pH, conductivity, size of reef islands, vegetative cover, coastline, and seafloor mapping. But before I start with all that, I want to get personal. Okay, you guys have talked a lot these days, you have gotten a lot of information, and I just wanted to see if you can put that aside for just a moment. I think I also need this. Just take a deep breath. And I would like you to go back to your first memory. Just try, a couple of seconds. Go to your first memory. Then go to the first interaction with the ocean for yourself. Don't know, can you remember that? Does it bring up feelings in you? Does it even maybe have a sound, a smell? Well, and if you would start describing it with words, what kind of words would you start using to describe this interaction? Well, right now, with Metabolic Foundations, we are asking these questions with people who are involved with the ocean. And I have a couple of examples for you. So the first example is of someone who said, when sailing, you are confronted with the power of the ocean. You have to respect it to be able to go forth. On the ocean is where I feel closest to myself. It is my God. The ocean is my temple, and it has a power bigger than me. The second example, I always was involved with the ocean, but it intensified when I started foraging for my own food from the ocean. I just started putting stuff I found in my mouth, like seaweed. You learn to observe. Catching fish and octopus by the hand, it goes hand in hand with wanting to explore. Hand in hand of the tales people of the ocean tell each other, and just going for it. The ocean is everything. I love the ocean in all its aspects. Bodyboarding, free diving, fishing, whatever. It is part of my life. I could not even tell you who I would be without the ocean. Just another person. Just a whole other person. And the third, if I didn't live near the ocean, maybe I wouldn't have found my deep-seated passion for wanting to gain knowledge about these super alien ecosystems. I started with a shell collection. I had a shell encyclopedia, and I would scour the floor for shells and then find out what the Latin name is. Now I basically want to dedicate my life to it, and I've sacrificed a lot to be able to do that. My mom's Dutch, so I always think, what would have been like if I grew up in the Netherlands instead of Aruba? I think my life would look totally different. So yeah, being in close contact with the ocean has definitely impacted my life substantially. And next to it, kind of being my dreams and aspiration. It's also personal to me as I free dive and I compare it to meditation. I was meditating every day in the ocean because I was going crazy with the stress of everything and moving and making big decisions, and I was free diving every day, and I also surf. So all my hobbies and passions are basically formed around the ocean. Now, I read this a little bit fast, but when you hear these experiences, do it get like I kind of get a feeling. And it's almost like you're next to them in that moment. Like, and especially as an islander, you can understand that connection with the ocean, and that you can actually not imagine it without it. So from this connection, from this storytelling comes a connection. And for many of you are environmental scientists or educated in it. So how do you speak about the ocean? What word use do you use? How do you explain the processes of the ocean? And can you even do it without the scientific terms? Just what it stands for? Can it be a story? Can it be visually told? Well, in one of our interviews that we did, it's with an upcoming marine biologist, a local, she grew up here, and she said, I want to do the interview in English because all the scientific terms are in English. instead of papiamento. Well, these were the communication challenges that we had. We were measuring around 9 different environmental parameters, all using their own technology. So, but our main goal is that this technology that we're creating and the methods have to be replicable. So we need it to be accessible. We need it to be welcome and opening, so people would actually come and, yeah, I can actually maybe do this. So as people know, yeah, that is good. But what are we measuring? Big mystery. Okay, water quality, yeah, good. Okay, but dissolved oxygen, ocean acidification, mystery again to them. And not only those things, like what is mangroves, coral, seagrass, what is their role in the ecosystem? It is not really like general knowledge. Things you take for granted as a scientist can get lost in translation and becomes a language of few, while it needs to be a language of all. So, but that's not only with the environmental scientists, we were also working with engineers. Okay, again, our systems need to be replicable. Okay, break it down for me. I don't understand these terms. How do you connect that? How does it charge itself? So it was actually a language variant of 2 worlds that needed to become public. Okay, so for example, what is GIS? How can AI help us map the seafloor? How do these sensors work? I know this because I didn't know it myself. I am general public. I have general knowledge, but my advantage was I got to be in between it. And I got to ask. And if I could understand it, then the public could also understand it. And through the Surfside Science communication journey, I have also seen, talking to scientists, engineers, the interns, volunteers, that we are all kind of learning as we are going. So we wanted to bring it close to our community. Now we are an island, we adapt to languages. We have been a colonial island, we adapt to Dutch. We are a touristic island, we adapt to the English, Spanish. So we Arubans, we know all the languages. But we wanted to bring it to our own language, papiamento. Well, papiamento. Papiamento is a young language. We are a bunch of millennials, local millennials and 1 Canadian, that didn't get papiamento in our education when we were in high school. It was not like, oh, let me just Google Translate, see what it comes. We didn't have that. ChatGPT was just the last month of our project. It was a lot of back and forth with our environmental researcher, our project coordinator, and just yelling out in the room, how can we translate this? It wasn't really actually a team effort just to put these things in papiamento. And with the interns that are the Gen Z, that did get papiamento in their education. Also, scientific terms in papiamento. It was kind of figuring it out as we go, sometimes maybe even creating it on the spot. Also, we chose sometimes to leave it completely out, the scientific terms, and just really go what it means, what it stands for. Okay, so that's the papiamento. And we always, goal was we want to be able that you can grasp it, casual, simple, clear, and an introduction science language. Now, next, how can we minimize the text? Can it be something visual? And as you can see, it turned out in 8 infographics that we have used all around. We have used them for events. We have used them as coloring plates for kids on our Makerspace bus. We have used it in summer workshops, the coloring plates. We have used it on our social media. And we have been very lucky that local organizations have been also resharing it. So it was a very organic process. And we didn't do any paid advertising, and it was just people supporting us and resharing this knowledge. Okay. Oh, totally forgot to do anything. Well, I guess we just go through them then. Okay, so these are some of them. Actually, they're already around you. So these 2 we have here, we have that one too, and then we have like social media posts where we try to cramp it a bit in. Like for example, I'm going to use the ocean conveyor belt, but the term is?
The thermosaline cycle.
Thermosaline cycle. And, but we left the terminology completely out and just went with the, describing it. Oceanification, salt water, the vegetation, what it's good for, coloring plates. Okay. And now we go to our faces, our local faces. So the second part of this is that we wanted, okay, so I already explained the technology, the environmental science, it's all pretty difficult. But I also told you about the storytelling. So what we took is let's tell this through the stories of the people who are making it. And we have been actually very lucky to have very many people. There are very many stories actually to be told. I chose. It's not playing. Okay. So not this one. That before that. Okay. So there are a lot of stories to be told. For example, we had two guys who had worked with our foundation. In high school, they worked in our maker spaces. We used to have maker spaces. And they went to study, and they came back for this project. Now as young professionals, working on our air and water quality. Sean, from Savaneta, used to play with they put a hot tub in the ocean, and they would just use it as a boat, and all these stories. And we had Manuel, who grew up in Ridderstaat, urban. He didn't play with his toys, he opened it up and would explore what they are. So these guys, they have stories to tell, and how they end up making our monitoring. We had also a lot of it's okay. We have to go with the flow, it's my life how it goes. If not, you can just put the art studio up. Okay, so, and then we had a lot of, also system interns from the university. We had Alexandra explaining why she needed data just for her study. We had another Amarellis who was working on AI. We had Max, also not a system student. Never ever, we didn't even know what GIS was. Never worked with it. Ended up working with it and covering, measuring, mapping all the mangroves of Aruba. So through these people, we told the stories of our environmental monitoring systems and methods, and that it actually has been a journey.
Was it supposed to be described in the video?
wait, okay. So, when I say cue, so, oh yeah, also we had, where we were working was our hub where we were working is actually just the home of our project coordinators. We were our beach, our pilot beach, Surfside Beach, a beach that has so many species that I didn't even know, walking there really realized, vegetation, but also has a lot of businesses, and it's busy with restaurants. Restaurants that hosted our sensors because we couldn't get permits at that point. It has volunteers that I was asking, do you know, what do you know? Maybe that's a nice one, the seagrass. So what do you know about seagrass? And then you find out, oh, actually I'm not the only one. A lot of people in different levels were like, oh, seagrass, actually I don't know that much. And then we had a session where our environmental researcher then would explain. This one is actually a tutorial of how to seafloor map, so maybe we can go a bit. Yeah, there, okay.
This is the compilation.
Yeah, so maybe there's a live clips then. No, sorry. Let me go to the, we go to, okay, just the seafloor tutorial on the last one.
Which one is it?
The last one.
Okay. So I ended up making tutorials, videos, just like I said, mostly of the stories through the
Surfside Science provides a tutorial to seafloor mapping that can be done with simply access to a GoPro pouch. Recommend a pouch with an air bubble and press the shutter of the GoPro to start your time lapse. Point and film the screen of the phone with the GPS Lodger app open. Press record on your GPS Lodger app. Keep the GoPro pointed at your phone to sync them later. In the GPS Lodger, press lock button. This locks the app so buttons don't get pressed by accident. Turn screen off. Put it in a waterproof phone pouch. Recommend a pouch with an air bubble and foldable seal. And also put your GoPro camera in a watertight case. Prepare to strap the GoPro on the kayak. Set up the rubber bungee. Pass the bungee through the safety loop of the GoPro handle. Tie the bungee hooks to each other. Place the GoPro facing down near the middle of the hull. Tuck the GoPro handle under the bungee and slid it down so the bungee is between.
Okay, so this, as you can see here, we did seafloor mapping, and as I already mentioned, we had a lot of, after all this, our main goal was to create citizen scientists in the communications planet. And as you can see, we managed to have like around 7 kayak sessions where a lot of volunteers came and they kayaked for us to map the seafloor. As you see, GoPro underneath the kayak, and there they went. And from there, on the other side, we had a lot of citizen scientists at home clicking these pictures that them made. Other, or maybe the same people were at home identifying these pictures so we could train our AI. So they were identifying coral, sand, rubble. So as you can see, a lot of people actually were involved. Also, a lot of people helped us with borrowing, kayaks, GoPros. All this actually ended up in us getting an honorary mention of the European Citizen Science Prize. Yeah. And which was presented by Ars Electronica in Linz, Austria in September. As you can see here, we have our 3 Caribbeans in a very European backdrop. They actually, it's shown from our air quality. We have Amarellis who worked on AI, and Redeline on GIS. And so yeah, we are happy that we did actually get to fulfill that goal, where the community was also part of this project. And I also forgot to mention that we had interns of all levels of education. APE, APB, University of Aruba, and I made a video. So my first interview was with Sean. I showed it to the APE interns, and then suddenly they were quiet after because I wanted feedback, and I was like, "Ooh." Was it maybe because they were learning about, of course, electronics and stuff? I was like, "Ooh, was that too obvious?" And they were like, "No, actually, it was very informative and inspiring because this was the guy that was working beside them, working on the water quality, and they were there to see it, and hope they will continue that." Yeah, I think the videos kind of were a bummer, but you can check them out at our YouTube channel. Brintjes, we can go to our last line. Oh yeah, I have to say, this is all the reach that we have. I have to say, podcast, media, all very welcoming, very open to us. The interest is there. We had no problem in getting into the public via the media too. We also visited like events, and we had the newsletter, and yeah, we can go to our last slide, which is our website. Please check it out. I'm gonna just leave you just for fun with our Ars Electronica, what we have shown there in Linz. It became something very abstract, an abstract interpretation of our science project. So if we go to, maybe if you, I don't know if you press on the website, did make the link, no. Okay. Takes a minute before it starts. So you can already start seeing that there's live data on top of air and water quality. And this was just the loop that we were showing then in Ars Electronica. It's all local artist music, so check them out. Okay, if we just turn down the sound, only the sound, then I'm then kind of ready and done. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony, can you unmute the Zoom meeting?
Oh, shoot.
That's okay. There was one person that wanted to get in, but I didn't want to interrupt you. Okay, we have like 5 minutes for questions for Suyin.
Hi, I'm Ian from Sophia University in Tokyo. A lot of the work that we do is communicating climate change concepts and adaptation concepts to communities in Pacific Islands. And with all of this amazing work that you've done, what advice would you give for academics around communication of these ideas to the general public?
I can understand, when you're in a certain, I don't want to call it bubble, but in a certain area you have a way of speaking, you don't even know that you're, like I said, it becomes a language of few. I do think to bring in someone that's maybe not in that bubble, because I had to push them to make me understand it. So even though Christy and Tatiana, they're all very good communicators, like self, but still my background is illustration, so I have an artistic background. So in illustration already, I have to, I do have to learn how to grab that information and visualize it. So maybe go maybe an arts person, maybe see who you can put in that team that's a little bit out of the box, but then can bring that information over. And of course, also, I'm not saying that you cannot do it, but I mean, it's good to have a variation in the team.
Yeah. Did you, are these your illustrations?
Yeah, so I did draw, thank you. Actually they are not, they are a process. They're also a process of teamwork, talking to them, okay, but so go in my own research, then talk to them, then did I understand it correctly? Did I draw that? Okay, no, maybe that doesn't, okay, draw it again. So, there's a process behind it. Oh yeah, I actually forgot to say, we didn't only do it in Comunication. We have them in English, Dutch, and Spanish, and they are on our website. Just everything in our project, open source, ready to download. And every aspect, it's all open to the public. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you.
Some more questions?
I'm Sabine from Curaçao. First of all, I would like to congratulate you all on your amazing work. When I go to scientific conferences, I very often see a gap between scientists and the community, and you are doing amazing and very important work in bridging that gap. And I think we need much more of this. Thank you for the remark that everything is downloadable. I do wonder about the Papiamento, because for Curaçao and Bonaire it's a little bit different with the writing. Is there also for Curaçao and the Bonaire version in Papiamento?
Not yet.
But you come with a very good point, though, because yeah, it is Papiamento, so maybe we should also do it in the...
Because I think that's really added value having it in Papiamento, but because it's written differently for our islands, it would be really of value to also be able to share it on our islands.
Yeah, perfect.
If
No.
Papiamento resources would also be translated to Papiamento, it would also be
That's
wonderful.
what I
but
just
think
wanted to
it's-
say.
It goes both ways. Wonderful, thank
So
you.
maybe there is a collaboration possible in this, because we have translators that do the Curaçao translations, so both could be able to do that.
No, very good point. I mean, even though our languages are a bit different, we have to be united, and yeah, of course, we can do that.
I'll keep my question brief. Congratulations, it's beautiful work. I'm also in the kind of field of science communications and art, and I'm curious, so much of these illustrations, it's beautiful, you're using it as a mode of communicating ideas. Are there parts of this project that include, I'm just curious, like the, those that are receiving this information, using art or creativity as a way of understanding what's being communicated as well? Is the art side of this limited to your side of communications, or?
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, well, this side is like one-sided. We do have like the coloring plates, but we did have like 2 workshops with kids where we went on the Surfside beach, and we would just like gather leaves and gather. We also had an app. If you take a picture, it gives the name of what it is. So in that sense, we have been a bit interactive, but.
They drew also, they did dances based on what they saw. Right?
Very good.
Chris is doing the next presentation.
Thanks so much.
So the workshops she did, the kids also, after they gathered different species, they had to draw them. And then they also like made like dances. So they made like
TikTok crap.
TikTok. Yeah. Based on like the observations. So
but this was like a project of a year, and it was a lot actually, of course, about the environmental monitoring aspect and how to make it graphical, open source. And we were just lucky, by the way, also a shout out to European Union that funded us for a year, that they also gave us the budget, the space to even spend time on this, So for now it was just like, let's just try to communicate what we're even measuring. But yeah, I like the idea of making it more interactive. In the past, maybe it's not that, but in the past we have made like a website of air quality, which is animated, and we had people just join the workshop and then animate it, and then every time the air quality was bad, who's going on a spaceship, that's really bad, but like, so, and now with this project that I was reading some of the, what they were saying, we're also thinking how are we going to solve that artistic thing. But the interactive part is a very important one. We did start with the idea of a kind of scientific museum, but we didn't end up getting that far. But like a more science, like I don't know, like Nemo in Holland, I don't know, like a more science museum where it is definitely something to think about.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suyin, for a wonderful contribution. We don't have more time, otherwise we would immediately go with you to the beach to experience what you're doing there. Thank you so much.